Bringing Dan Bickley, talk show host, lead columnist for Arizona Sports 98.7 FM, joining us from Nashville. Bick, how are you this morning?
DP, it's been a long time, man. I tell you, one of the worst things about having bad teams to cover in Arizona is I don't get to make guest appearances, and I don't get to relive all the angst I caused Rich Eisen.
You may get Kyler Murray and Zion Williamson.
Well, that would make us relevant overnight now, wouldn't it? You know, I've said all along that there's two things here. The Arizona Cardinals should take Kyler Murray. I continue to think that they will not take him. I don't know if they are going to have the courage to put everything, including the GM's job, on the line for a quarterback who is 5'10" and 1/8. But the way I look at it, man, you've got Cliff Kingsbury, who is a failed college coach. He is coming to the NFL. You've got guys like Sean Payton who are already salivating, waiting to play this guy, waiting to expose this guy. You have hired all of the assistant coaches for Cliff Kingsbury. He effectively has no real power or authority or really any credibility yet in this organization. And you could see how fast the bottom could fall out of this tub if he is not any good or if he's in over his head. So you've got to double down and give him a guy that he can work magic with, because if you're going down this path, like Daniel Jeremiah just said, you've got to go full on and give Cliff Kingsbury this guy, but I don't think they're going to do it.
Did you see enough from Josh Rosen last year that you say, all right, I'll give him another year, or he's still a franchise, the chance to be a franchise quarterback?
It was the weirdest thing watching him last year. Everything we thought we knew about Josh Rosen coming out of UCLA, the fact that we thought he was aloof, maybe a little petulant, maybe entitled. You heard Rex Ryan rip him for being a tennis player. Everything about his personality. And it's the most ridiculous thing. What's wrong with being a tennis player? So anyways, this is, to me, Josh Rosen proved that he is physically and emotionally and in terms of maturity far better than anybody thought, yet his accuracy and his arm strength and his delivery was a little underwhelming. And there were some bad habits that cropped up at the end of the season that a lot of us explained away due to the fact that, look, he's got no offensive line. He's got no skilled players to speak of. They basically thrown this kid to the wolves, and he survived, and he toughed it out. So he proved some things that were about, his image and who he was. He proved those wrong. But the quarterback itself, he kind of left some questions hanging out there, and it's amazing how this offseason it's turned him into a sympathetic figure in Arizona, Dan, which is kind of the darndest thing I've seen. Because, here's this kid from a rival Pac-12 school comes to Arizona. Now suddenly, just because people can relate to having a bad boss, and they're going, look, you drafted up to take Josh Rosen. You threw him to the wolves. You made him play under one of the worst offensive systems and offensive coordinators we've ever seen, and now you're going to take the job away from him? He's turned into a sympathetic figure, almost like a martyr in Arizona, and it's bizarre how good he's become in the last couple of months without playing a game.
Bigger risk, Cliff Kingsbury is your coach, Kyler Murray is your quarterback.
I think Cliff Kingsbury is your head coach. I think Kyler Murray, I'm not an expert at this stuff, but he has got elite-level release. He's got elite footwork. He's the twitchiest quarterback I have ever seen, and if he can stay in one piece in the NFL, I think he is going to be sensational. Cliff Kingsbury, as I said, being an NFL head coach, you are commanding a small army of men. Cliff Kingsbury has never commanded men. He has commanded kids. And is Cliff Kingsbury going to be able to go, and I approve the hire. I like it. It's outside the box. It's something I'm interested in covering. It's something I'm interested in watching. But this thing is fraught with danger, because is Cliff Kingsbury going to go and rip into some of his players the way Bruce Arians did? Is he going to be able to speak hard truths to players when he has never coached it down in the NFL? These are going to be tough things for him, especially if he gets off to a slow start. I like the hire, but it's a dangerous road they're traveling down in Arizona.
He's Dan Bickley, talk show host, lead columnist for Arizona Sports 98.7 FM. My point is, if you're going to bring in Cliff Kingsbury, then I'm bringing in Kyler Murray. If you stayed with Bruce Arians, I don't think you're bringing in Kyler Murray. And that's where, if I'm all in, I'm all in. If not, then I'm not taking Kyler Murray.
That's exactly right, and that's what that's where I'm at with this whole thing with Steve Keim, and I really believe that they've got to kind of align their priorities and get their minds straight before this craziness begins. On the streets of Nashville last night, and I'm sure you guys saw this as well. They ran that little dress rehearsal, and they showed on the stage the Arizona Cardinals. The pick is in, and there's all this pomp and circumstance. And I thought to myself, these 10 minutes that the Cardinals are going to be on the clock, if they keep their intentions and what they're going to do airtight, and if there is no pre-draft trade, those 10 minutes are going to be riveting, compelling stuff because nobody really knows what they're going to do. The thing is their GM. He's a guy that I never believed he was in danger of losing his job after a 3-13 season, after the debacle of hiring Steve Wilkes, after dealing with Patrick Peterson's unhappiness last year. Well, now you're going into another year, and I do think his job is next on the line. And hiring Cliff Kingsbury is nice, and it's out of the box, and you can say, look at how willing I am to risk everything. But if you go now and say, look, if you think in terms of job security, it's going to be awfully hard for a general manager to draft Kyler Murray when you have so many needs on this football team. But to me, once you sign down with Cliff Kingsbury, this is the road you have to go. You need to unveil a brand new day, a new declaration of who the Cardinals are, and just take it from here and hit the ground running with it. It's interesting, too, because as you know well, Kyler Murray doesn't come off very well in public. I was with him in Indianapolis one day. You had that ill-fated interview with him. His people skills, they're not the greatest, and even worse, he doesn't seem to really care. And I don't know if that's because of his family, if it's his handlers, if it's because he is so constricted of what he should and shouldn't say in this process. But there's that to consider, too. The popularity of this kid and how people are going to relate to him. I believe if things go well, this guy can do to the NFL what Steve Nash did to the NBA. He's going to be this underdog quarterback that is going to send this message to all these young players that, look, if you're under 6 feet tall, you can be an NFL quarterback. I think he can have that kind of impact on the game. I just like to know more of who this kid really is, and I hope the Cardinals have a clear picture.
I will give you the power to pick if you want Zion Williamson in Phoenix or you want Kyler Murray in Arizona.
Oh, wow, what a great question. I'm going to take Zion Williamson only because I think the Suns, even with their owner who just continues to do daffy things in his tenure of this franchise, I would take Zion Williamson just to pair him up with Devin Booker and everything they've got, DeAndre Ayton, and because I love watching Kyler Murray play football, but I've never seen a power forward play basketball like Zion Williamson.
Bick, behave down there. Good to talk to you again.
Love you, DP. Take care, boys.
That's Dan Bickley, talk show host, lead columnist for Arizona Sports 98.7 FM.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on VR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.